Welcome to my Hebrew channel. I'm continuing this introduction section or introductory course to Ruth 1, and we're at Ruth 1, 13, 14, 15. Very emotional set of verses here. Naomi continues her complaints about what's happening or what's going on. She postulates a certain strange situation for her to marry and then have children and then have the girls wait long enough for them to be old enough to be married to them and so forth. It's very much a rhetorical question, very much a scenario that really isn't going to function, and everybody knows it. So, here Naomi is keeping kind of putting the pressure on her daughters-in-law, make a decision, and she's telling them, head on back to Moab. Everything's done for her. We're finished. Everything's shot. We're done, and just head on back. And I'll just go back to Bethlehem, and I'll try to, live out my days quietly and stay angry. But it's decision time now, also for the two daughters-in-law, for Ruth and for Orpah. Orpah, of course, makes one decision. Ruth keeps on with her original intent to accompany her mother-in-law, and so it's a time of a very powerful emotional time. The passage carries a lot of emotion, and translating it requires attention to detail, just trying to capture the emotion that's happening there, what's happening with these people, how they're feeling. And so it makes it very very interesting literature here to read what Naomi's feeling in her heart. So let's go on to the study. Ruth 1:13, surely you would not want to guard yourselves until they were old enough to marry. So in the previous passage, Ruth has, Naomi has mentioned that, hey, I might have some children and get married very soon. And then if I'd had children, you'd have to wait another 20 years or so for them to be old enough to marry you. And by then you'd be 40 or 45. And so it's just simply not, it's not going to work. So surely you would not guard yourselves until the word, there's some root words here that are kind of difficult to decipher, and that's, if you check the translations, you're going to see quite a variety of translations for this first one and also the second one here. And we'll get into the Hebrew, and I have to go down to the root meanings of these words in order to just see what's happening there. Very interesting, but requires attention to a lot of detail there. Surely you'd not want to guard yourselves until they were old enough to marry, until it's possible to be married. Surely you would not stay walled up all that time. Wow. Hey, yeah, if you come along with me, your life's going to be pretty boring for the next 20-some years while you wait for these two boys to grow up. No, it's not happening, okay? No, Levilti. No, my daughters, you must not return with me here to Bethlehem. For my intense suffering, I'm very bitter about everything that has happened to me. Marli. Mara is Mara. This is one word we're starting to see a lot of it now here in the first chapter. That's her intense feelings, her intense bitterness within her heart against herself and also against the Lord, as she states very clearly here. My intense suffering is too much for me, for the hand of Jehovah has gone out against me. This hand is always a symbol of power, and the power that Jehovah exercises has been pushed up against me. His power has gone out against me. His hand is symbolism here of his power. The hand of Jehovah can be one that rescues you, but here in this case, the hand of Jehovah is one that has caused at least Naomi a lot of pain and suffering. So she's blaming Jehovah for all the evil things that have happened in the last 10 years or so in their journey off to Moab. And again, they wept loudly, plural here. We'll see Bekana. We'll see that again in plural forms. That's why we're studying Book of Ruth. Got lots of nice plural feminine forms. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her, Debek. The word clung here is the very same word we find in Genesis 2 when the woman is created, and then the woman is brought to the man, and they cling to each other. So they are brought to be one together. Here, it isn't that Ruth is going to be marrying Naomi, but it's very close It's the word is debek or debakah, feminine here. Debakah. Modern Hebrew, debakah, you go to a hardware store, you're asking for glue. Okay, so it's debak. It's one way to remember this word, debak, to cling tightly. And it appears once or twice more in the book of Ruth. It's yeah, there are other scenarios in which people cling to each other in the book. So we'll get to that. So Naomi said, "Look, your sister-in-law is returning to her people and to her gods, Elohecha, Elohecha. Follow your sister-in-law back home." The sister-in-law here is mentioned twice. It's based on the Bet Mem root, Bam or Bim, and this particular root means to fulfill the Levirate marriage, Levirate contract. And so this person who should be fulfilling the Levirate contract is taking a hike, but that's the title that's been given to her. And so in a sense, she's not really a true sister-in-law. True sister-in-law would stay with it. But no, she took off for her people, and in a sense, Ruth is the one that does fulfill the role of fulfilling the Levirate marriage. And when you get back into studying the Torah, the law, you'll see that if a woman was left as a widow and the dead husband's brother was not willing to undertake the Levirate marriage, the woman had the right to drag him off into court and spit in his face and throw a shoe at him and so forth. It was quite a dramatic scenario when this wasn't happening. So yeah, it's the role of sister-in-law is very important, and something we can take a look at as well when we look to the Hebrew in this particular passage. So, my daughters, Benotai, this is Benot, Bena, just with a hey would be a singular, Benot would be plural, and Bonotai with the yod at the end here makes it my daughters, makes it plural and possessive as well here with this yod, singular possessive pronoun at the end of this particular construction here. Benotai, nice revia here too, very strong accent here. Mar, that's bitter. We can see it, Mara is the short form. We can see it as Mara as well, but bitterness. And it's one of the key words in the Exodus. People are very bitter about what's happening on the journey and so forth. So Mar, it's a well-known word. And yeah, we find it here in this. This is in reference to what here Naomi is accusing God of being bitter to her. She's suffering bitterness because, hey, why? The Yad Yehovah, the hand of Jehovah, has gone out against, okay, has gone out against her. Clung tightly, Davka, this accent will be the front here. I didn't put the accenting in here, but Davka, and to hang on, to stick on to like glue. Okay, it's like modern Hebrew. The wak is glue in modern Hebrew, and but to cling. Same word used in Genesis 2, as I mentioned. Yebimtecha, and this is your sister-in-law, the one who has to fulfill bam bet mem. Okay, then a tau here for like a construct ending of this particular noun, and then of yours, possessive pronoun at the end of here, feminine possessive pronoun at the end. This word is repeated twice in the passage. As I said in the introduction, this beam is, you find it also, by the way, this root at the start of Genesis 38, where Judah goes to his children, Onan. He goes to Onan and says, hey, fulfill your brother-in-law role. And he goes, and rather than doing that, he spills his seed on the ground, and Jehovah, boom, knocks him dead. Okay, so very important thing to do here. You do this right, or you're in trouble with the Lord. And so, and what we see here, this particular term right here, being the sister-in-law had certain things she had to fulfill to maintain the family. And when you did it, fine, you had a family. When you didn't, like Orpha did, she took off, and that was the end of her chance to establish family in Judah. Whereas yeah, Ruth fulfilled this role, came to Judah, was quite willing to marry Boaz. I hope Boaz was a handsome guy. He was a Gibor Hayil. He was a great man, powerful man, and so it might not have been such a great, or might not have been that difficult to get married to him and raise up descendants to the family that had been lost, to Elimelech, Malon, Kilion. The family name, the inheritance was rescued, and so forth. Why? Because Ruth was willing to be Yimim Techa. In other words, she was willing to be a good sister-in-law. So, and here it is in the Hebrew. These are rhetorical questions. And when you see in Hebrew, you see ha lachen. Okay, it's repeated here, ha lachen. And would it be to you? Would it be to you? The hatef patah is a sound, ah. Okay, ha lachen. Would it? Would to you? Would to you? Okay. Is this going to happen to you? Is this what you want to do? Okay. Would to you? Okay. Halachen. Halachen. Okay. To you. Tish shivarana. That is to guard. This is it belongs to the family of verbs. Shomer, to guard. Shiver, shibra here. Would you guard? Would you stay closed up? Would you stand guard? Okay, shivarna. So it's a feminine plural here with the na on the end. It's a prefixed form of the verb here. Would you stand guard? Od, until. Ashir, yegadul, until they would be large, until they would grow up. Gadal is to grow up, to mature. Okay. Yigadalu. This is gadal is appears a whole lot more as an adjective. That is big, migdal or gadal. But here it is, most certainly a verb. Would they would they grow up? Would they get large? Okay, gedulu, third person plural, masculine, and it's a prefix form with a suffix of the plural here. Prefix for masculine, suffix for the plural. So here, yigadul, yigad, dulu, yig, gad, lu. Ha lachen, would you then? Te agena. Now, we'll have to get into the root. We have to dig into the middle of this root. It takes a little bit of analysis here. The two consonants that really count in the middle of this root is this gimel and this nun, and gan. Gan happens to be a garden, okay? A garden that's walled in. So when you make a walled in garden, so when you say the Gan Ha-Eden, the Garden of Eden, it's the walled in Garden of Eden, okay? Something that's been walled in. So the Gan is something when you set up a wall around something, okay? Gan Ha-Eden. Okay? And that's what you have. You have been, and this then is a verbal form of this whole thing with an I-in on the front. Would you be walled in, okay? So this, and again, here's a rhetorical question. Would it be to you to be walled in? Okay, to wall yourself in, actually, is feminine form here, of course. Both the na and the tau provide the feminine. This is the plural side of it. You see the plural side here, na, plural side here. But the nun here, gan, is telling you, hey, you're closed in, or you're walled in. Are you going to wall yourself in? L'bilti, oh no, hayiti laish, to not be with a man. Okay, so this is hayit, hayot. This is a plural form of is infinitive form of haya. Okay, so hayot, to not be, and this is not. Okay, not to be with a man. Laish, and then nice, beautiful adna sitting right there. Okay, laish. And then you continue on with al, okay? Not. Oh no, okay? Prohibitive, okay? No way. This one here is not, in other words, as it would sequentially be not, but this one is no, it's prohibitive, prohibition, okay? Prohibitive, no. Al, be'notai, my daughters, ki, and then why? Because marli, bitter to me, meod, very much, hugely bitter to me, Mihem, for you, In other words, this is really bad for me, but it's even more so for you. It's comparative mem right here. Okay, so mechem. This incidentally is a masculine ending, but she's still talking to the women. The fourth or fifth time that we've seen this kind of construction, but we know masculine forms do function here for these gals, so that's really shouldn't be a problem anymore. Mechem compared to you, for you. Ki, yatsa, because it has gone out. Be against me, okay, against me. Yad, the hand, Yehovah, the hand of Jehovah. The hand, Yad Yehovah, yatsa, be, because the hand of Jehovah has gone out against me. When you're using the word against and using the word hand, that means the hand is doing something tough with you. It's knocking you down. It's against you. And the hand of God here, hand of Jehovah, is knocking Naomi down. That's what she thinks about what the Lord's doing for her at that point. Tisha na kolan, and they lifted up kolan, their voices. Tibakena, and then they also wept again, od again. Okay, here again another atnas stop or finishing this particular first phrase that's at the start. Tishana kolan, tibakena, od again. Betishak, and then she kissed. Then orpha, okay, orpha kissed, singular. This one here is plural, that one there is plural, but this one's a singular because we're down to one person right here, and that person is Orpha. Okay, and Orpha kissed Tisak lehomatach, to her mother-in-law. Hamot, Hama is a mother-in-law. Hamot, and to her mother-in-law. So this is a lamed preposition to, and Hamot is mother-in-law, and Hamotah, mother-in-law of her. Okay, so this is a peek here inside a pronoun at the end, personal pronoun, her mother-in-law. Ve Ruth, and Orpah is the one with the long hair. Ruth is the one that's the neighbor. Ve Ruth, de Davka, okay, Davka, but Ruth Davko. Okay, that's a close syllable, no accenting. Could be Kamisatuv. Yeah, Davko. Okay, here we go. Davko ba. But she clung on, she glued on, she davek. I've already said, same verb used in Genesis 2 for the man and woman being in union together. Okay, davek, and davek, gluing together. And here we get to Tomer, hine, and then the Tomer, this one's a prefix form of said, and by context, it doesn't say you're explicitly Naomi, but it is Naomi speaking. Tomer, hine, hey, take a look, hands up in the air. Hey, look at that. Shabbat has returned. This is a feminine form of shuv. If you're going to look it up in the dictionary, it's going to be shin surik bet, but it's just simply like the verb here, and so you don't have to bother with the surik in the middle of this one. It's just she's returning. She's returned. Okay. Yibim tech. Okay. Yibim tech, and you have yibim tech here as well. The root of this word, and the root of this word, and by the way, this is sister-in-law. Okay, sister-in-law. The sister-in-law has a role to fulfill, completing the family, and it's based on the word beam. This particular bet mem, we find it at the start of Genesis 38 when Judah is telling his sons Aaron and Onan and so forth, go in and fulfill the role of Levite marriage. In other words, you have to keep the name going. It's your role. Onan, of course, disobeys that, and the Lord strikes him dead. So it's very important, a very important detail in life. Anyway, Yibim Tech, in other words, your sister-in-law, the one who's supposed to keep the name going, the one who's supposed to keep the family together. No, she took off. She's on her way. Okay, and she's telling now. Naomi is telling Ruth, "Hey, you better do the same thing." She's made up her mind. You make up her mind. You go ahead and do this. But of course, Ruth is saying, "No, I'm not going to do that." So, and then the next few verses, she's going to explain why she's not going to do that. So stick around for the next study. You can find out the rationale that Ruth is using to stick with her mother-in-law. So, Tomer hine shava yibintech el amach, to her people, towards this preposition of to, Amos people, and this is a third person feminine suffix pronoun, to her people. And this one's also the same thing here, but this one has a mapik, this one has a kametze, but there's the same function here. El Elohecha, and to her gods. I noticed in some of the translations when I was checking, they said, oh, to her God. No, this is in the plural. And whenever you see false gods, when you ever see pagan gods, and you see them in the plural, translate them as the plural. When you see it with the true God, then you translate it as a singular. If you would take this and translate it as a singular, you're in a sense declaring that her God was a true God. No. Keep it in the plural here, okay? El Elohecha, to her gods. Shubi, okay? Now head on back. Now this is indicative here. Shabbat, she is heading on back. She's returning. And this one then is the hortatory. Shubi, okay? Return, go back, head on back. This one does have the surik in the middle. This is, if you're looking up in the dictionary, you'll find it with the surik. If you look it up, you won't find this surik. I mean, it'll be in the lexicon with a surik, but not in the indicative sense of the word here. Okay, Shabbat and Shubi, return. Achare, behind, after. Yibintech, your sister-in-law. A very emotional passage that we've gone through here. Lots of energy in this passage. And decision-making time. Orpha has decided, I've had enough of all this, and don't really want to mess with Jehovah or his people, and don't really want to mess a whole lot more with Naomi. Better head on back to my own family, to my own father and mother, and own house that she'd grown up in. Orpha heads on back to Moab. But Ruth is looking forward and saying, oh, okay, I'm going to stick with her, Devek, okay? I'm going to cling on. I'm holding on tight. And in fact, I just remembered, when you get into the second chapter, Boaz tells Ruth, okay, you stick with the female servants that are in the field here. Okay, stick with them. Okay, Devik is used there as well. So, yeah, Devik. And there's a time in life, of course, when you have to make a commitment. You have to stick with them. Stick with your people. Stick with the true God. Hang on. Things might get rough. Things are. The hand of the Lord seems to be going against you, as you saw here. Yad Yehovah, Yitzah is going out against. But most certainly, there comes a time when you have to hold on tight. And this is a time for Ruth at this time, and I hope that we can learn from it and know that there are many times that we also have to hold on tight to what the Lord offers to us and to the providence and care he extends to us. So may God bless, and may you hold on tight to what the Lord is giving to you until the next time.